So, we are now going to show a very real world observed phenomena. In fact, I'll tell you about it, and it will be surprisingly true. You will even say, why do we have to talk more on this? Isn't it obvious? But then there is a very elegant mathematical proof for it. What is the question? Imagine there is a boxing ring and there are two people in the boxing ring, and what you do is you introduce a third person. When you introduce a third person, what happens? Two people are trying to fight, there is a third person who is trying to fight, and the third person does not join the first two people. He is trying to fight the two people. Every person here is trying to fight the other two people. Will this work? What will happen eventually? The first person is trying to hit the third person and second person is trying to hit the first person and the third person is trying to hit the second person and the first person. It will be a chaos. It cannot be a proper fight unless two people get together into one team. In that case, these two people will fight with this one person, and there will be a win or a loss. But then when you have these 1, 1 and a 1, the boxing ring gets very chaotic. Does it sound very familiar to you? Haven't you seen in a group the fight is generally between two teams? It is never between three teams. Why is that? This sounds all the more familiar to you. War, when it is waged, it is never between three countries, it is always between two countries. Maybe there is a third country, but the third country will take someone's side. In fact, it is observed in World War I and II that countries did take the side of some other country, and the war was generally waged between two groups. In a bunch of people, the war is always between two groups, not between three groups. Now, can you connect the dots and tell me why exactly this happens? That is because enemy's enemy is a friend, correct? As simple as that. How? Assume you have a boxing ring and there is A, B, C fighting with each other. When A realizes that he needs to hit B and B realizes that he should hit C, right, A should hit B and C also should hit B, then AC can get together and hit B, right, so on and so forth. You see, there is some kind of a chaos here, and then it can only be resolved by two people taking one side. So, when these people start taking sides, that enemy is enemy becoming friends sort of a thing, then there becomes two teams. Imagine there are 4 people who are trying to box in a boxing ring. What happens? Again the same thing. There is 1, 2, A, B, C and D trying to box with each other, and then A hits B, A hits C, A hits D, and every single person is trying to hit the other 3 people, chaos. So, some kind of an order emerges there, and then they split into a few teams, maybe 3 teams from 4 teams. A, B, C, D is 4 teams. And they realize this cannot happen, this cannot continue, and they segregate themselves into 3 teams. Still there is chaos, as I told you before. These 3 teams again gets converted to 2 teams. No matter how many people you put, it is always 2 teams. Why is this true? Let us try to look at it mathematically right now.